One day after officially securing his electoral college victory, President-elect Joe Biden is back on the campaign trail today in Atlanta. Mr. Biden will be stumping for Democrats John Ossoff and Raphael Warnock. The two are facing off against incumbent Republican Senators David Perdue and Kelly Loeffler in Georgia's rather highly anticipated Senate runoff races. The January 5th election will ultimately determine which party controls the Senate and could also shape the legislative ambitions of the Biden presidency. So CBSN political reporter Caitlin Huey-Burns is following all of this from Atlanta for us. Caitlin, as we mentioned, President-elect Biden is campaigning for the state's Democratic candidates today. What's that going to look like?
Good morning. Well, he'll be coming here to Atlanta to campaign for Ossoff and Warnock at an outdoor rally intended to help get out the vote and stress how important these Senate runoffs are. This event today is as much for Biden as it is for these Senate candidates, because these races will help to determine what the Biden agenda looks like in terms of getting through Congress. At this point, the balance of the Senate really hangs on these two runoff races. If Democrats are able to win both of them, there will be a 50-50 split in the Senate, and Kamala Harris as vice president will be that tie-breaking vote. So Republicans really only need to win one of these races. But the message from Biden by coming here today and stressing the importance of this race is because he needs these two candidates to be senators to help his agenda and to help get some of his nominees through a confirmation battle.
Caitlin, as you know, Biden's rally comes on the second day of early voting in that state. What have the campaigns been doing to get people to turn out? And does it reflect what you're seeing on the ground? And I'm also curious if the president's baseless accusations of voter fraud and rigging and attacking the governor, a governor who has long supported the president through thick and thin, and except when it came to his integrity, and the Secretary of State, if that's having any effect on dampening turnout for Republican voters.
Well, both Republicans and Democrats are stressing to voters to get their ballots in early. So they're stressing the importance of early voting, which started yesterday and runs through the end of the year. December 31st is the last day for early voting. They're also stressing to get absentee ballots in if that's the way that you want to go. And remember, that's kind of a contrast to what we saw Republicans push forward with the president in the general election, when the president was denigrating mail-in voting and absentee voting, which has long been a program here in Georgia. So both Republicans and Democrats stressing the importance of getting their vote in. It's kind of the holiday season here, so the campaigns want people to make this part of your holiday planning. Get your vote in and then enjoy the holidays to get it in as early as possible. Also, we're still in the pandemic, and so there is this question about, as the cases continue to rise, whether people might not feel comfortable going in on January 5th. So similar dynamics to the race in the general election. But you're right, this is the big question heading into these runoff races, is whether the president's rhetoric and his dismissal of his own party members, the governor here and the Secretary of State, whether that has a dampening effect on turnout. Republicans need their base to turn out in this election, and so it has created some kind of mixed messaging and some challenges, quite frankly, for some of these Republican candidates, because on one hand, you have the president saying this election was rigged, it was fraudulent. Again, no evidence for that. There have been 3 recounts here in Georgia, and of course confirmed by the Electoral College yesterday. But on the other hand, they need people to turn out and vote and not to have any doubts about the system. So that's what we're going to be watching while we're on the ground here following these campaigns.
Yeah, you also got to wonder if the president's rhetoric will reignite the interest of Democrats who, clearly didn't vote for him in the state either. And so perhaps he's keeping them more engaged than they would have been if he had just sort of accepted the results of the presidential election. But Let's move on to something else. Senators Loeffler and Perdue, they've been demanding an updated list of voter registrations. In a statement, they said that it was totally unacceptable that the Board of Elections had not yet made this list available. Why do they want this list? They're suggesting a lack of transparency. Why is it taking so long for the list to be made public?
Well, voter registration here in Georgia closed a week ago, so it does take some time to update those rolls. And the registration information is important to campaigns because that helps them access voters, get every last voter that they need to turn out, figure out where they are and who they are. But remember, this is a state that has gone through 3 recounts already. It's a very busy state when it comes to elections because all eyes have been on Georgia during the general election, the aftermath, including the president's attacks and attacks by Loeffler and Perdue against their own Secretary of State. So that is something to watch here, that this has been a very busy process. The Secretary of State also announced yesterday that they will be doing a signature audit of Cobb County. They said that'll take about 2 weeks, but that won't have any impact on the results of the election, which were certified multiple times here.
All right, Caitlin Huey-Burns for us. Caitlin, as always, we appreciate it. Thank you.